I just finished A New Lease on Death by Olivia Black, and I absolutely loved it from start to finish. Ruby moves into a Boston apartment that is fully furnished. Turns out there's more than just the previous tenant's furniture left behind. Her ghost is there too. When a neighbor man's death occurs right outside the building and the police don't seem to have any suspects, Ruby sets out to solve the mystery with help from the ghost of Cordelia. This story was so fun. I loved all the ways they found to communicate with each other, like even using magnetic words on the refrigerator. It was just absolutely delightful humor and a very good mystery as well. Sometimes cozy mysteries are not that good, but they're just fun to read, because I like to read something a little light sometimes, you know. Well, this was actually a really good mystery as well as being a fun, cozy mystery. I thought I had figured it out, but it turns out I hadn't. It ends on a cliffhanger, and I absolutely have to read the next book when it comes out, October 21st. It's called Death at the Door, The Ruby and Cordelia Mysteries. Now, I promised that I would tell y'all, and one of my besties asked for the story of my own personal ghost story. Okay, so here goes. We accidentally bought a haunted house. My husband's great-great-grandparents built this house, and when we purchased it and moved in, we hung in the living room a picture of them, a black and white picture of the two of them in this house, okay? We thought, oh, how sweet. Like, you know, we loved that the house was staying in the family. We loved having their picture up there. Well, we woke up the next morning and the picture had been hanging on the living room wall. Now it was sitting up on the kitchen table. Like, I got up first and I thought, oh, he did that as a joke. And when he got up, he said, very funny. I said, you mean you didn't do that? He said, you mean you didn't do that? Our child at the time, because this was some years ago, back in 2008 when this happened, was too young to even be able to reach the picture. It was hanging where it was hanging on the wall. So that rules that out. None of us have any issues with sleepwalking. One of us could not have sleepwalked and done it because we've never sleepwalked ever. So we were just baffled. We were like, and a little creeped out, I have to say, a little creeped out. But there wasn't any logical explanation for why their picture was sitting up on the kitchen table when it had been hanging in the living room. So strange things just kept happening. Little things that sometimes we were like, we were always trying to debunk it and rule it out because, as I mentioned previously, I didn't believe that ghosts were a real thing, but it's one of those things when things happen and there's no logical explanation, you have to start believing there's something to it. I don't know what. I now believe that there must be some way maybe they can leave energy behind, or I don't know. I don't have an explanation. All I know is things happened that there was no logical explanation for, and we tried to think of there were plenty of little things that happened that we ruled out as, it could be a coincidence, although it is very, very strange, but this we just didn't have any logical explanation for. Well, eventually, something really, it was like it just kept ramping up. Things kept getting weirder. There were little things like things would disappear and then reappear in weird places that we would have never put them, like an Axe body spray in the pantry cupboard instead of in the bathroom cupboard. But we thought, it's possible. Maybe we just mislaid it or something, Well, one night we were all asleep, sound asleep, and all of a sudden we were all woke up at the same time. It sounded like a very heavy person wearing heavy boots was running through the house. You could hear loud, heavy footsteps just running. We both sat up in bed, just freaked out. My husband leaped up and ran all through the house checking because he thought there was an intruder in the house. Our child also was woke up at the same time by this sound and was terrified. I ran to their room and looked, they were hiding under the covers, just absolutely terrified. So it could not have been a dream. We all woke up at the same time and heard the exact same thing. Very loud, heavy footsteps running through the house. The security alarm was set. If anybody had opened any window or a door, the alarm would have gone off. All the windows and doors were still locked and closed. The alarm hadn't gone off. There was no intruder in the house. So I don't know. What is the explanation other than a ghost? Okay. Well, eventually it all came to a head when my child was in their room and all of a sudden screamed and started crying and ran out. And they said that a figure had come into their room and it didn't have a face. It was like just a blank space where their face would be, and they glowed and they were just terrified. I mean, and I have a very, very honest child. Like, this child was terrified, like absolutely terrified. So that's when I said, okay, we have got to do something. Like, I can't have my child afraid in our house. So I told my husband, I said, you know what? Maybe the energy is connected to the picture of your great grandparents. Like, this is their house. Maybe I've heard of things like that before. Not that I ever believed them, but I thought maybe there's some type of energy associated with their picture. So I said, we have to get that picture out of the house and see if that helps. So he took the picture to work and kept it there. And when he did that, the thing stopped. And so technically, I guess I still live in a haunted house because it is still their house. But thankfully, they appear to not be currently haunting it since we moved their picture. I mean, if that isn't weird, I don't have the explanation. All I'm saying is it happened. I don't know. I don't know what the explanation is for it, but it is absolutely wild. So there you have it. There's my true life ghost story. I've always been fascinated by ghost stories, although I never used to actually believe that things like that actually happened until it happened to me. And now I know weird things like that do happen, and I don't understand it, but I don't know. But I do love reading ghost stories. This kind of ghost story is really fun to read. So I think you will love this book, especially if you love cozy mysteries. Check it out.